And we're back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC and 93.3 on the FM dial. And our sponsors for the Screen Team include Poplar, Bluff Drywall, 33 Productions, and also Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers. Our final movie is the movie Gone Girl, which was filmed right here in southeast Missouri in Cape Girardeau. The film was directed by David Fincher, who we just talked about in the last segment.
And the number one hit in the country right now.
Exactly.
And worldwide, actually.
Yeah, and, we were mentioning before how Fight Club wasn't a big success for Fincher. This one, I think, was his biggest...
one of them, yeah.
One of his biggest
Girl, the Dragon
money
Tattoo
makers.
Was a big one. Social Network, I think, did well, too. But anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this one is doing really, really good, and we have two of the members of the Screen Team here that were actually in the film.
That's right. You know, my agent called me, and he was like...
They
want you as Nick Dunn. I was like, I'm sorry. I've got Dark Hamlet stuff going on. I got to put that aside, so I'll be a reporter extra.
Well, let's talk really quickly about how you guys got involved in the project. Mike, how'd you find out?
Well, you, I believe, are the one who actually, if I remember right.
Where's my check?
Where's
my check?
Yeah,
man?
that's in the mail.
Where's my 10%?
Where's my residual? Yeah, but because of my, I had recently, within 3 or 4 months, moved back from Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So with my resume, I already had my headshot. I emailed them my headshot and resume, and they called me and talked to me about it. And,
That's
had
cool.
me. They told me what I was going to be playing, reporter and everything. So fortunately, I didn't have to drive down there and do any sort of auditioning. I don't even know how the process went, thankfully, so it saved me some gas. And
Look at this
they just
guy.
told me to show up. So
I'm from Hollywood.
That's right. Feet on the desk, talking. You want to be a star, don't you, baby?
Jamie, tell me about your experience.
Well, I was the complete opposite of that. I went to the open casting call they had there at the theater at SEMO, and really there wasn't much to it. You know, it was like, you walked in and they handed you some paper, mm-hmm. and it kind of explained a little bit about what they were looking for and what they were doing. And they were looking for all shapes and sizes of people, but they still want you to look a certain way for certain scenes. And
of course.
And what you go up there and like you fill out the thing, and, you basically put your name and contact info, and then like they ask about if you had a car and things like that, because they use some of the background characters' cars, in some of the scenes. In the scene I was in, actually, and then they ask you a little bit about what you've done. I said, well, I've done some theater and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they took a picture of you. You went behind this curtain. They went, click, thanks, we'll be in touch, and that was it. The whole thing took like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, okay. And then they called I guess about a week later and said, hey, we're shooting a scene on this night, and can you be there and bring, 3 changes of clothing, this type of look, blah, blah, blah. So I packed up some clothes and drove up there on a Friday.
Yeah.
All the stuff I brought, they did not want, by the way. All the stuff I brought, they made me feel like I had no idea about fashion. No, you're gonna wear our stuff.
I got lucky. All they made me change was my T-shirt.
I think I had 4 or 5 different wardrobes.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was pretty intense, and you cannot collect any sort of funds they're going to be paying you until you return.
Right.
They don't pay you then anyway, but it was the voucher receipt.
Right. So talk about your day of shooting. How long was it and all that kind of stuff?
Well, the scene that we were in together, it was a night scene, mm-hmm. and man, they had a central location on the river campus of SEMO, and we go in and fill out some more paperwork, and then they do the costuming and all that, and then they put us on school buses, and we went downtown Cape Girardeau, and we walked through this one building downtown, but we didn't even, that was just like a holding area, and we had to wait for this party to finish out on one side of it so we could go over there. But then we walked down the street, and then it was really interesting because you're walking down the street that I've been up and down that street. I think it was Spanish.
I don't remember.
I think it was Spanish that runs in front of the courthouse,
mm-hmm.
and I've been up and down that street dozens of times, and it was just so different. It had such a different vibe.
I bet it did.
Because they had the street shut off, and then you see the big truck that has the movie company logo on the side, and then you see the big Klieg lights and all that on the poles and stuff. And it's like, wow, this is
exciting.
Really cool,
Yeah.
And then you get to the set, and what was really kind of bizarre was as you kind of clear this little hill thing at the top of the street, you look over and there's literally 300 people, 400
just out over
sitting on the side
just
of the
wanting
hill
to watch
in front of the
the
courthouse, ready to watch the scene. And so it was like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's cool because watching the movie, what brings back a lot of memories for me is the house Nick and Amy Dunn live in, because I was there for for a week up there. I played a reporter, but like you said, they take you up to that holding, and when they need you, they have you walked down to the neighborhood. And David Fincher, if any of you don't know, this is very, very meticulous.
Yeah, he
will do it over and over. We're talking 15-hour days for a 15-second scene, maybe for a 2 or 3 second shot.
Yeah.
He was, to me, it's like, it's funny because he'd be like, all right, cut, let's do it again. Cut, let's do it one more time. Cut, okay, one more time. Cut, all right, one more time. Cut, and over, it's like how many times he just said one more time. It's like, and he even said, do not look at the camera or I will kill you. Because I guess, when they do a shot, he has to look at it.
Yeah.
And apparently some people were looking at the cameras and stuff. But it was awesome to be able to, beat on the car with Ben Affleck in there and Tyler Perry, and to see their first reaction, like their first take. Ben Affleck and Tyler Perry were kind of shocked because of how intense the actors, the reporters were trying, and apparently David Fincher and all of them were really impressed with the Missouri crowd. So it was kind of funny.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. That's so cool. So what was your reaction like when you guys got to see the movie and you got to see yourselves up there?
Jamie?
That was pretty cool. I saw there was a preview clip that came out a couple of months ago, and it was, they cut those kind of things really quickly where it's like scene,
Yeah.
And because they just want to get you interested in the idea of this movie. And, they crop those to fit, I guess video screens or TVs or whatever. And you can see me for a split second in that one preview. But it's really dark, and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be lost in the bar. Yeah. And I was right in front of the sign that says the bar in the movie. So it's like, okay, as many times as they filmed this scene, and they were very specific about things like there was a group of people that walked around me and my buddy Joe. They paired me and this guy named Joe together. They walked around us, stopped literally 2 feet from us, and took a picture of one of the girls. And I was like, and they were very particular about stop here, lean up, take the picture every time. And I was like, well, crap, this scene is, this shot is definitely going to be in the movie, even if it is for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, so I'm going to make it on the screen. And I did.
That's awesome.
But it's cool because as you're watching the scene, it's like, well, there I am. And then it cuts to Ben Affleck, and he's looking out of the car. And then it cuts back, and there I am again, standing with my buddy Joe, kind of pointing like, hey.
Again, that whole thing, what was that, 15 seconds? And
and it took 15 hours.
Yeah.
Because they shot it in every conceivable angle, like they had a crane and shot it, swooping up, and then they had the truck that had like 4 cameras on it or something like that, and then they shot it with Ben Affleck actually in the vehicle coming in.
Right.
They shot him from the outside, they shot from inside, they put a camera in the truck with him, and then they attached his vehicle to this other truck that had the 4 cameras or whatever that were shooting at different angles, and they ran that down 20 times, so it's like, it's no telling. I mean, I guess it's all digital, but that would have amounted to a ton of footage.
Absolutely.
Just for that one little
absolutely
15
That's
second
why
thing,
post-production it only takes a couple months for filming. Post-production, that's why it was released a year after exactly a year, pretty much from when we were there filming.
So, I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
October.
So
it was, wasn't it?
So what did you guys think of the film when you guys
outstanding?
Oh, it was great.
Being there, it's like I didn't read the book, so I didn't know anything about the story.
Yeah,
I'm just doing what they want me to do. And watching the, stuff that's going on there, I'm like, I don't know. I hope David's going to pull a rabbit out of something because this doesn't seem too interesting. But watching the movie, I was incredibly impressed. It is rated R, and there's some pretty graphic scenes in it, so it's not a kid's movie, but it's outstanding. It's an incredible twist, very well written, very well acted, directed. The whole thing was very good. So I went away feeling like, I can see why this movie is such a hit right now. Apparently the book's really good too. So
Jamie, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was a great film. And one thing I was going to say, I haven't read the book either, but I've read some reviews of the book, and was it Jillian?
I don't remember.
The author, she wrote the screenplay for the movie.
Yes.
So I would imagine it's very close to what is in the book, and even if you've read the book beforehand, it's definitely worth seeing the movie. Just to get that experience from it, because Yeah, like Michael's saying, it's just, I mean, there's twists and stuff that you don't really expect, and things that happen that kind of catch you off guard.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what happened? You know,
Yeah, definitely.
it takes you a second to process it and go, wow.
And I can see why they had David Fincher direct it. It's dark.
Yeah, it's somebody referred to it as even a bit of Hitchcock, you know, and I can see that, you know.
Yeah.
What about you?
This is one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
That's awesome.
For sure. There's a few points in here that I want to let people know about that were just outstanding. The lady who played the main character, Rosamund Pike,
Yes.
outstanding, man.
She's my new British crush.
Yeah, if she doesn't get some love from the Academy, it'll be a shame because she was outstanding.
Yeah.
I thought the score was great by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails and Atticus Ross.
Yeah, you can hear in the theater. It's almost like computer noises with the music. I thought it was like, are they having some problems with the audio? But then I could see that that's part of the film.
It had like an 80s kind of, I don't know, it had like an 80s kind of techno vibe to it. It was very, very unusual but haunting at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? So those were two main points right there. And when they announced this film and they announced the cast, I was like, really? Ben Affleck and Doogie Howser and Medea. But
why is it not legal to drink a Heineken on TV?
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. But you know, when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, what if Fincher's really got some work to do because that cast is horrible. I was wrong because each one of those guys did a great job. You know, Ben Affleck plays Ben Affleck.
Yeah, you thought maybe it was just one of those moneymaker films they put out with big stars just to get people in the seats.
But they casted him right.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, there wasn't really a lot of depth to Ben Affleck's character other than he's going through, you know, a tough time with his wife. So, you know, it was the right fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I give Fincher and the rest of the crew props because they did a great job.
Yeah.
They really did. Yeah. Guys, great job as always.
Thank
Thanks
you
for being on the screen.
No, I was happy we could do this.
You know, it's funny, man. You moved to LA to be in movies, and then you come back to Missouri.
It followed me. That's right.
You come back to
Come
Missouri.
to daddy.
You're a movie star. Coming up next week, we've got the Whitlows, a part of the Screen Team. Jake and Candy will be in the studios. We'll be reviewing Purple Rain with Prince.
Really?
Yeah. We'll be reviewing the Money Pits with Tom Hanks and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, cool.
So that's coming up next Saturday at 6 p.m. For Michael, for Jamie, and Chris, we're the Screen Team on Today's Talk 930 KWOC.